guys, welcome back to TutoriMane. I'm going to be starting with a new subject, that is physics, and it's on 12th grade itself. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to begin with the first chapter. But before we begin, I know that as a student, many of you have been facing this difficulty with this particular subject, and I hope all this video and the next coming videos make you understand at least the basic concepts, makes these basic concepts at least simpler, so that you can not by heart it, but at least memorize it. At least you can remember with the diagrams and the video which I'm going to show you. So let's not waste time and move on. The first chapter is electric charges and fields, introduction to it. Mainly this chapter deals with nothing but static electricity. So before moving on towards static electricity and stuff like that, let's focus on the word what static is. Static, suppose you keep an object at one point or one corner. Even after a period of time, the object does not change its position. That means the object is in static. It's in static position. So a particular object does not change its position even with respect to time. That's what static means. The study of these static charges is called electrostatics. You can't write this definition for exams. So what is electrostatics? Electrostatics is a branch of physics which deals with the study of stationary charges. Now we are almost everywhere using the word charges, electrostatics, static, branch, physics. So focus on the word what charges is. So what is electric charge? Electric charge is a property possessed by a material, object or particles. These mainly refer to atoms, electrons, protons, not the materialistic objects. So that makes it possible for them to exert electrical force or to respond to electrical force. Around an atom, there is some kind of a field which is called as electric field. So for those, electric force is at least exerted on them, or sometimes for the existing force, they respond to it. I know it's a bit complicated, but this is the perfect definition for what is an electric charge. So please try and understand the concept of it. Moving on, we are talking about electricity everywhere. Where does the word electricity come from? It is a Greek word which means electron. The spelling is a little different, so just don't get confused. It also means amber. There is a picture of an atom. Atom has equal number of protons and electrons. So that is why an atom is stable. It's neutral because the proportion of the neutrons and the proportion of the protons and the electrons is same. So there is equilateral stuff going on there. It's balanced. So that is why an atom is also stable. It is also neutral, whereas the substance also will be stable and neutral or uncharged. In terms of electric charges, it's uncharged. The substance will be uncharged. Moving on, there are two terminologies which you need to remember, understand and know the definition for. The first one is positively charged substance. The second one is negatively charged substance. So you've seen an atom. If the proton number is greater than an electron in a particular substance, in that atom, if the proton exceeds the number of electron, it is said to be positively charged. Or another definition for positive charge is if an atom loses an electron, it is said to be positively charged. Vice versa for negatively charged. When an electron number is greater than the proton in an atom of a substance, it is said to be negatively charged. Whereas another definition for this is when it's said to gain electron, it is negatively charged. When it is, remember the word, when it is gaining, it's negative. When it is losing, it's positive. It's important because it is used in problems. Can be asked in CET. Questions can be formed. So I'm going to be giving you a set of questions also. Hopefully you can answer them after all this concept wise. Moving on, what is electrification? The process of removal of an electron from an atom of a substance or addition of an electron to an atom of a substance is called electrification. Now before electrification, we learned what positively charged substance and negatively charged substances. This is a process of electrification. Losing or gaining is a process. Understand the process of removal of an electron from an atom. If an electron is removed from an atom, or if an electron is added to an atom, this process is called electrification. Moving on, conductors. These are the substances which allow electric charges to pass through them easily. Charges can flow through them without any restriction. You need to know the examples. Please make a note of it. Metals, electrolyte, human bodies also. We also have we are also conductors because we do have ions and atoms in ourselves. So moving on, insulators, substances which does not allow electric charges to pass through them very easily. In this, they have a barrier kind of thing which does not pass electric charges. So for example is wood, plastic, glass, rubber, or etc. for that matter. The process of sharing the charges with the earth or the ground with the charged bodies through the connecting conductor is called earthing or grounding. Now if all of you are living in a house, all the electric charge appliances or all your sockets or your switches, every wire from your house is connected to the ground. That is called the ground wire, if you know. What happens is excess charges, if it is present, these charges flow to the ground. So the process of sharing these charges with the earth with the charged bodies, that is if there is a wire which connects the ground and your sockets or your switches, so that is a connecting conductor. And this process of connecting the switches or the plug points to the ground is called earthing or grounding. This is not important, but you need to understand what earthing and grounding is because it is a basic sense. So yeah, there is a topic which is called gold leaf electroscope. That is a diagram of it. So you can see the apparatus. It is a setup apparatus. So it is what is gold leaf electroscope used as? It is used to detect the presence of electric charge in a body. If you have a charged body and you don't know it is charged, but you want to find out whether it is charged or not, you use gold leaf electroscope to determine that. So you need to know the construction of it, working of it, why it is used, and the principle of it. So moving on, I am going to break down to you so that you can understand it much easier way. Okay, so can you see this star kind of thing? Those are the charges which are represented, and there are one second, hold on. There is something like this. It's moving outside. This is nothing but a gold leaf. It is actually made of gold, and this outer thing is a tumbler. It's a glass container. There is a metal plate here, and there is a stopper. This is an insulating stopper. Okay, it's an insulator. Don't forget it. It's an insulator. So it also consists of a vertical rod, 2 gold leaves attached to the bottom. It also has a plastic stopper. Plastic is an insulator, and a metal plate above it. This is a metal plate. Okay, so this is the body which you need to find out whether it's charged or not charged. So what you do is you get this body towards the charged plate, metal plate that is, and when it is in contact with it, the charges flow. It goes from here to like this. It goes like this. And when the gold leaf senses that it has some charges, they diverge. Like this, they diverge. So if a charge rod is brought in contact with the metal plate, the charges flow through the rod and it reaches the gold leaf. If the charges are present, they diverge. So now you're going to see that these gold foil cannot just simply diverge however they want, or whatever angle they want. So the more distance they diverge, it means that the charged rod is heavily charged. There is more amount of charge in it. And if it diverges like literally very less, something like this, just just a little tip outside. That means that the charged rod is very little, having very little in charge. It is not, there is less number of charges in the rod. So the degree of divergence is an indicator of the amount of charge present. Okay, so there is one more question I need to ask you before moving on. Why do you think it's called gold leaf electroscope? It's true, there is a gold leaf present in it, but why is the material gold in it? Okay, there are many reasons in it. The main reason is these gold are ductile, malleable. Okay, if you don't know what malleable means, malleable is a phenomena where the substance can be beaten into sheets. It can be a thin sheet, and gold is famous for that. The second one is ductility. This is also a phenomena where the gold can be drawn into wires. It can be expanded to wires. So malleability, ductility, it's famous for. That is why gold is used. Alternative for gold is aluminium, because aluminium is also malleable because it can be beaten into sheets. Ductile, not very much, but it is malleability is the main reason why gold is used. Okay. Now we know how to find out if a rod is charged or not. Now, how do you charge the rod? How do you electrify the rod? There are 3 ways you can do that. The first one is friction, second one is conduction, third one is induction. You need to know all the 3 methods, at least the definition of it, because it's important. Moving on, the first one is friction. 2 substances are rubbed against each other, electrons are transferred from one body to another. You have 2 bodies, you rub it against each other, the electrons are transferred in between them, not from one to other two. They're between them. So the body which loses electron becomes positively charged, the body which gains electron becomes negatively charged. I think by now you must be familiar with all these terminologies and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay, let's move on. By this method, 2 bodies are charged opposite in the same magnitude. Okay, you guys need to understand one more thing. If a body is negatively charged, that means it gains electrons, simultaneously it cannot be positive. It can only be one form. Understand this equation, which I'm going to, equation matlab, it's a sentence. I will read it out to you again. By this method, that is friction, 2 bodies are charged opposite to the same magnitude. Even if they are charged opposite, the amount of electrons which is lost is the same amount of electrons the other is gained. Don't forget it. It's very important, because I'll tell you why. Example, when a glass rod rubbed with silk cloth. So if a glass rod is rubbed with silk cloth, the glass rod acquires positive and the silk cloth is negatively charged. Okay, so remember this. I'm going to ask you a simple question, which is kind of a JEE kind of question. Not really, but if you understand it, it's simple. The question goes like this. A body X, it's named as X, has +2 coulomb of charge, and a body Y has -2 coulomb of charge. Can we say that X has more charge as compared to Y? Guys, I'm not going to give the answer for this. I want the answers in the comment section so that I can have a satisfaction that you've understood something I have thought. So yeah, please note down the question. Moving on, what is conduction? When a charged body is placed in contact with an uncharged conductor, charges flow from the charged body to the conductor or vice versa. You need to understand here both the substances were uncharged. Once you start rubbing to each other, that is friction, then the charge is transferred. But here in conduction, you already have a charged body that is placed in contact with an uncharged body. There is no charge for the other one. So what happens? The charges flows from the charged body to the uncharged body. Basically, consider 2 stones. One is charged. A stone is charged. B stone is not charged. When both of them are in contact, all the charges or the charged body, that is the A body, From there, the charges flow to the B body because it is in the uncharged conductor. That is, the B is uncharged. Moving on. The nature of the charge acquired by the conductor is same as that as the charged body. Okay, so I'm going to show you a diagram. Hopefully you understand. यहाँ पे there are two types. There is one is positively charged, the one is negatively charged. It depends upon your charged body, on how it is. If it's negatively charged, then it becomes positive the other way. If it's positively charged, it becomes negative. This is the end of this video. Hopefully you guys have understood, and I know it's going to be difficult because it's physics. Yeah, I don't like physics, but I've always wanted to make this subject simpler for people. So hopefully you guys have understood what I've thought till now, and it's going to be useful as well. Thank you for watching TutoriMane, and bye.